Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fastest 2 hours in talk radio, the sexiest 2 hours in talk radio, the most technically plagued 2 hours in talk radio. It's the Vinny Eastwood Show, broadcasting live from the fabulously fluoridated capital of Auckland, New Zealand, the island-chained nation in the sunny, slave South Pacific. It's freaking gorgeous. And it's even Fukushima irradiated and everybody got part-time jobs and an incandescent light bulb. It's really helped the economy. Speaking of helping the economy, the first article today, and I'll be covering the debate and what have you article in a second, but today's super wealthy just tiddlers on all-time rich list. I found the title of this article so ironically hilarious. Okay, because I can guarantee you, these dudes will not take into account Rothschild or Rockefeller money. You know, you have a look at like the Forbes 100 or something, and there's not a single name of Rockefeller or Rothschild up there, even though you know they own like 90% of the economy or something ridiculous like that. And they don't make the rich list, apparently. You know why? Because they put all of their money into frickin' trusts when no frickin' asshole can see them. And then they rule you from behind the iron curtain of some description with an iron glove. Smash the beast and everything out of you. Okay. The richest person ever to walk the planet was not, as it turns out, an Astor, Carnegie, or even a Windsor. Notice how he left out Rothschild and Rockefeller, just like I said. I love breaking down articles before I've even read them. Rather, it was a fellow named Mansa Musa I. Mansa Musa I, man, he does sound like a rich fella, who, if you haven't heard of him, ruled what used to be the vast Malian Empire from 1280 to 1337, a terrain now encompassing Mali and Ghana that was blessed with oodles of salt gold. That you have to travel to Timbuktu and back 7 centuries to find the man with the most wealth ever is only one of the surprises of a list of the top 25 richest people in the history of mankind, compiled and just released by the website celebritynetworth.com. Now, here's the problem here. You're going to have a look at wealth and celebrity and things like that. The most famous and the most dangerous people and stuff like that usually don't make the list. But, ironically enough, this one might just what. So let's have a look at the top 10 most wealthy in the US. So there was Mansa Musa, the ruler of the Malian Empire. Oh my God, I was totally wrong about this. Totally prejudged. Number 2, the Rothschild family, with 350 billion, banking dynasty from 1740 to today. Incidentally, that was wasn't that the day that the Rothschilds created the Bank of England, wasn't it? Yeah, I think they own it anyway. And then John D. Rockefeller with 340 billion, industrialists from 1839 and 1937. Now, dig this. You say that John D. Rockefeller by himself has... we found an article explaining what happened yesterday on the show with Tila Tequila. Slingshot, the ISP that I use, went down, like the whole ISP, for like 20 to 30 minutes, and it affected like I don't know. It didn't even say how many people it affected, but you know, that's what went down yesterday. But we also had some other problems with Skype and all this other stuff. So it doesn't explain everything that happened, but at least that one big thing where we were off the air for about 30 minutes. Yeah. Now, anyway, on with the list. John D. Rockefeller with the 340 billion, Rothschild family above him with 350 billion, Andrew Carnegie, 310 billion, and the Tsar Nicholas II of Russia with 300 billion. He was the last emperor of Russia before the Red Revolution, and that freed all the Russians from Tsarist tyranny and gave them a blessed communist paradise. It's out of the frying pan into the fire with these methods. Number 6, Osman Ali Khan, Asaf Jah the 7th. That's a real messed up name. He was the 236 billion last ruler of Hyderabad. I don't know. Had anybody ever heard of Hyderabad until today? No. Well, I'd not heard. Well, I can guarantee you, people reading around this list, many of them not have heard of the Rothschild family or John D. Rockefeller or Andrew Carnegie or any of these people. Isn't that interesting? And dig this. Here's an interesting one. Muammar Gaddafi. 200 billion. He's the former Libyan leader, 1942 to 2011. And then, lastly, the only one I've actually ever heard of is Henry Ford, 199 billion from the Ford Motor Company founder, 1863 to 1947, who actually built cars out of hemp, and then, incidentally, wealthy industrialists, scumbags, made hemp illegal. For that very reason, that it would threaten all the Rockefeller. Okay, it's like, dig this. If you do the move on the list, okay, you go down to number 9, Henry Ford, okay, and then you go up number 3, John D. Rockefeller, who blocked all of Henry Ford's energy saving inventions and other things, and John D. Rockefeller's number 3, Henry Ford's number 9. It just shows espionage and corruption frickin' pays, doesn't it? So does dictatorship, as it turns out. Speaking of which, we have a very different president who has shown up allegedly on the stage. Headline: Obama comes out swinging to take claim to his job. Yeah, it's his job, like he actually works for a living. I'm sorry. The presidency. Nothing is funnier to me, okay? Alright, like, I'm not bagging the president. I'm just saying that every single thing that they say is absolutely hilarious to me, okay? And if you feel that I'm acting a bit weird today, I'll explain why. I had to get up at 1 a.m. to be on a show at 2 a.m., and then I put in a full 8 hours work, and then had a little bit of a nap before coming back on the show today. So this is me with a couple of hours sleep and a full day's work already out under my belt before the day begins. So I apologise if I'm not quite up to scratch. How many other people were up at 2 a.m. to do 2 hours on a radio show for somebody else? I don't think many of you were. Be lucky. It's just me doing this. A very different president showed up to the second live television debate with his Republican rival Mitt Romney, giving a performance that may prove critical in influencing swing voters. Swing voters. Apparently, they're playing at the park with their kids at the moment. Okay, President Barack Obama climbed back into the race for the White House yesterday and did not hold his punches in a bad-tempered debate with Republican challenger Mitt Romney, which could prove critical for the outcome of the election. You know what will prove critical for the outcome of the election? Nothing! Because it's already pre-decided. A scumbag will be elected. That much I know to be true. In a markedly aggressive performance, compared with his first dismal debate with Romney 2 weeks ago, the president hammered the former Massachusetts governor on issues ranging from immigration policy, which Obama now has solved due to the DREAM Act, which says if you're an illegal immigrant in the United States, you are no longer an illegal immigrant, and your children aren't illegal immigrants, and you don't have to pay taxes, and you don't have to abide by the law. It's just ridiculous. You look into the DREAM Act. Hey, I read out the specifics of it. I can't recall, honestly. But immigration policy. Let's allow all the people who are illegal here to remain illegal, except we won't treat them as illegal. We'll in fact, encourage them to keep doing what they're doing illegally. That's the DREAM Act in a budget. So, and then tax cuts to Libya. Now, tax cuts to Libya. In what way is the United States supposed to be taxing Libya? Wait, hold on a second. I read that wrong. Tax cuts to Libya. Okay, so they're not giving tax cuts to Libya. They're discussing everything from tax cuts all the way over to Libya. Now, here's the thing about tax cuts. What is the problem with cutting taxes? There ain't one, inherently, unless you're cutting it from people who already frickin' barely pay any tax and already frickin' own the means of production and already frickin' rigged the election with the fake money that they stole out of the Federal Reserve in the first freaking place. So what money are you cutting? It doesn't exist. You just made the money up, you asshole. It's ridiculous. We're going to stimulate the economy by giving a tax cut. Yeah, great. A few people who actually aren't completely frickin' destitute now will possibly get, you know, a little bit of extra change that they don't really need, and we'll get on down, right? Oh, that's good. That's going to stimulate the economy. No, it's not going to stimulate the economy. Because what they're doing is they're giving people tax cuts, but they're increasing the price of everything exponentially, so your tax cut doesn't frickin' matter. It just gets swallowed up by the bankers who inflate the currency. That is a hidden tax that they don't tell you about. Okay? It's like an interest on a loan. It's usury. Show me a law. You show me a law. Anybody in the United States or New Zealand or any other country that requires you, specifically, a free human individual with free choice and capacity in knowing contracting with the government are required to pay tax. Somebody show me that law. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So when they debate about tax cuts, they don't mention the fact that they shouldn't be taxing your income in the first place. What they do is they come in. Okay, here's the scenario. You've got a shop in Hell's Kitchen in New York or something. Some dude with a let's see if I can demonstrate this here. Some dude with a cheese cutter hat kind of walks in. He's carrying a cane and he's swinging it round and stuff like that. And you wonder, okay, what's this guy going to do? And what he does is he comes up to you and he says, "Hey, friend, I got some bad news for you. You can't have your shop here no more." You go, what are you talking about, bro? It's my shop. It's just like, I'm telling you. You can't have your shop here no more. The entire East Coast is being bought out by me and my colleagues, and you're gonna have to be moving soon. Okay? What are you talking about? How can you do this? I said, we're just doing it. Okay? Now, in the case that you don't want to move, I'm gonna have to increase your rent. What do you mean rent? I own this property. I don't have to rent it back to you. No, now you do. But why? Because I will kill you and your family if you don't. He's like, holy cow, man. You're a criminal. I know. What you gonna do about it? You're not gonna do anything. You know why? Because I got the guns. I got the military. I got the banking system and the judges all in my back pocket. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Just try it. Stick your head above the pulpit one time, and we'll shoot you down. Or you can simply pay the extra money that we're telling you to pay and get no choice about it. And maybe if you're lucky, a few years down the track, we'll give you a little bit of a break from that. And we'll decrease the amount of illegal money that you have to pay us on the property that you own by like 5% or something. To say thank you very much for giving us this illegal money from and taxation on the property that you own and we don't for the past 20 years or something like that, okay? It'll be like a Rouse Value Club card. How does that sound? You're like, well, it sounds like a pretty crappy deal, but I suppose I'll have to take it. That's right. Thank you very much for doing business with us. Good evening. And he walks out and he goes into the next shop and carries on the routine. That's a tax cut. All right, you listen to the Vinny Eastwood show. And We'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. You can call in 218-339-8525, 218-339-8525. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a show that's about shining bright. Now back on to this debate. They also discussed Libya. Okay, here's the Libya situation. Dude called Gaddafi gets the literacy rate up from like 20% to 80% in a couple of decades. He reduces the debt of the country to zero. He creates the most Western, technologically at least, advanced culture in Africa. He creates a massive artificial man-made river that courses through the country, supplying water to people even in the farthest desert so that they can all grow crops where previously there was nothing but dust and sand. And then, using this oil wealth, he gives people like, a 50% on their first car, and gives them like 50 grand when a couple gets married so that they can put a down payment on a house so that they got somewhere to live. He built a whole bunch of houses and stuff like that, and he said, I will house all the people of Libya before I would house my own mother and father. And sure enough, his mother and father died before getting a house. Okay, that's Gaddafi. And then he says, hey, let's have an African Union, or rather, let's not have the AFRICOM idea, like a military dictatorship slash EU version of Africa, but let's actually have a league of African nations who are actually looking out for Africa, who are kicking out these big evil corporations who have been exploiting everybody since goodness knows when. Maybe that's the good thing to do here. And then he goes into the oil industries and he looks at it and he goes, well, look, all the oil's being traded in US dollars. Looks like it's artificially inflating the US economy and burdening all the oil-producing nations with massive amounts of debt and this kind of thing. And they've got this currency that's soon to be worthless. Well, how about I, instead of taking the oil that we produce here, give the US a cut, why don't we just sell it for gold? Gold which has no debt inherently attached to it, no Federal Reserve or anything like that, and we'll call it the gold dinar, okay? Like back in the day, like in Mecca and stuff, with the dinar. And, of course, you got no debt, you're helping out the poor, you're creating a huge amount of debt-free trading, and you're making a stand, and you've got a state-owned bank that has ruled that interest and usury is illegal. So naturally, he's a brutal, evil dictator that must be stopped at all costs. Let's stop him, and let's send Al-Qaeda to do it. And that's exactly what happened. Okay? That's Libya. So whenever these politicians are talking about this, I don't know. But the challenger also put in a strong performance, this is Romney we're talking about, attacking the administration's record on job creation as he reworked his campaign talking points. Job creation in the United States. I think they're more like practicing job evaporation. And the only jobs that you can really get from that Obama's created are jobs working for the government. What's going on here? These people keep talking about job creation. The way you create jobs is you teach your people about how to be self-sufficient, how to be independent. And you remove restrictions and compliance costs and all of this other red tape, taxation, etc. from businesses. So that when somebody has an idea in their head, he goes, hey, I can create a water-fueled car out of doing this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. Let's run a working prototype. He does a little bit of research, builds a working prototype, gets it all going. Sweet as, not a problem. Then, as soon as he wants to go and take it to market, He's got all these business costs that are going to escalate taxation, and you've got to have accountants, and you've got to have a business premises, and if you've got a business premises, you've got to pay business premises costs, and goodness knows what the frack else. Okay, so the guy just sits down and he thinks to himself before making his invention, before taking it to market, and he goes, you know what? It just ain't frickin' worth it. So he doesn't do it, and the economy is all the worse. Because now the small businessman, the person who is creative, the person who is actually the backbone of the US economy from day dot with creativity and entrepreneurship, is now got his hands cuffed. And he's expected to keep working and creating jobs. It's not happening. And this is all part of the globalist. They are building in a whole bunch of things into the system, kind of like speed bumps in a road, except the globalists don't drive on that same road. There's a secret road that they can go, that they avoid all those speed bumps, and they go around. Everybody else is still stuck in traffic, and they take the fast lane. And only they have the key to the gate. That's the real problem, is that you're taking away the capacity for local businesses and small business particularly. You're taking away the ability of them to even exist. And you grant exceptions for those laws to the massive globalist corporations who essentially make off with all the money in the economy, have virtually no creativity, no conscience, and wind up running the place because they're the only people with any money left. Middle class, gone. That's job creation. And anybody who's left has to get some kind of government job or get frickin' food stamps. You know, you've got 40 million people on food stamps in the United States. What do you got? Population 315 million and 40 million are on frickin' food stamps? They literally cannot even afford to feed themselves? I remember when I was I think when I was a teenager, it might have been. I was looking up unemployment rates and poverty rates, and there's some kind of international website that I was looking at the time. And I noticed in communist China, the poverty rate is 10%, and the unemployment rate was 10%. And I thought, wow, in China, if you're unemployed, you're living in poverty. It's just that simple. And then you have a look at the United States. 4% unemployment and 14% living in poverty. It's like, so there's actually quite the likelihood that even if you've got a job in the United States, it's so expensive to survive as a slave that you'll have to live in abject poverty anyway. That really sucks, man. They got more freedom in China, economically speaking. Unbelievable. Now, the audience at Hofstra University outside New York, which had been asked not to applaud, ignored that instruction and broke into loud clapping twice as the pair sparred over the administration's clumsy handling of the aftermath of the Al-Qaeda attack on the US consulate in Benghazi. You mean that consulate attack that never frickin' happened and was actually taken in a completely, that footage was taken in like a completely different country, and it wasn't even a consulate, it was a safe house of some description? You know? The ambassador and 3 other Americans were left dead in the attack, which was originally described as spontaneous by administration officials. And I found it very interesting that during that protest, it wasn't a single cop. I've never been to a protest in my life. A protest that's not been called or not been officialized or anything like that. Any amount of people go into a particular area, boom, you got cops there, like white on rice. I didn't see a single cop at that alleged Benghazi consulate attack. Why is that? Obama, in a display of barely controlled anger, reacted strongly to Romney's accusation he was fundraising in Las Vegas after the terrorist attack. You know what's funny about Las Vegas? It's run by the mob. How can you say that, Vinny? Well, dig this. If you want to launder money, you've got to have a casino. Okay? Because if you were selling a product, let's say you've got a car, you've got to have rubber, You've got to have metal. You've got to have glass. You've got to have electronics. You've got to have... there's a paper trail for all these different products and things like that you bring over, assemble in a plant, put out. Products, tracking numbers, scannings with the beep, 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 like in the supermarkets and stuff, barcodes. There's a huge trail of that. You got a casino. You just go, hey, some dude just dropped in $100 million, and lost it all. You don't have to explain where that money come from. You're in a casino. Perfect place to launder money. And who loves to launder money? Criminals. And guess who, incidentally, was campaign funding in Las Vegas? A criminal named Barack Obama. Hey, are we starting to see the dots connected here? Well, incidentally, Romney's got similar connections with a whole bunch of drug dealing, cocaine smuggling pieces of trash and stuff all over the place anyway. So, yeah. The suggestion that anybody in my team would play politics or mislead when we have lost 4 of our own, Governor, is offensive. That's not what we do, he shot back. You want to bet? A politician claiming that he doesn't play politics or mislead people. You've got to be freaking kidding me. These people have lost touch with the tenets of their job, if that's the case. Oh, we don't manipulate people, we don't mislead them, we don't play politics. You're a politician. It is your job to mislead me. If I'm angry with you, it's because you haven't misled me correctly. Okay? Well, is there like a qualification form for this? Here's the presidential kind of test that you have to set. Okay, are you a known sociopathic lying criminal? Yes. Do you have connections with money laundering scum? Yes. Are you funded by major corporate banks? Yes. Are you willing to sell out the American people and even sell out your own grandmother to get a couple of extra pennies? Yes. You got the job. That's what's happening here. It was one moment of the wide-ranging debate where Romney appeared to be flailing. Earlier, he rudely put the president in his place by snapping, "You'll get your chance in a moment, I'm still speaking," in an exchange about energy production. And what's interesting about energy production is that, well, we had the Keystone Pipeline coming down from Alaska to have natural gas and oil being flowed into the United States. Basically, it would make the United States self-sufficient. And Obama blocks it. Why? Goodness knows. Here's the idea. Energy in the United States is much like energy in New Zealand. It's owned by a cartel. Okay? In New Zealand, the cartel is owned by the government. And the government's now changing that so that they want to have a mixed ownership model where a cartel of private investors as well as a cartel of government scum will be able to collude together in order to rip people off even more. Okay, so that's an improvement, they say, to help the economy. and what they do with these energy compliance costs as well, just as I mentioned before about the creation of jobs and everything like that, how they squeeze out the small businessmen and all that sort of jazz. Same deal with the energy economy in the United States, as far as I've heard it, mate. They've got these huge power plants and stuff all over the place that have just been, they've had their consents just stripped. It's like, what the heck, man? We need more energy. We have a growing population. We have more technology. We have more people coming online. We've got stuff to work on. We've got a whole lot of things going on, man. What are you doing? And here's what they're doing. Brownouts all over the states, regularly as I hear it. And now, people have no choice. Okay? Only the government-exempted major energy companies really hold any sway now. And they got copious quantities of lobbyists, and they don't want any more freaking competition. And they don't want any more energy production either. Okay? The Seven Sisters oil companies, you may have heard of these. Well, you know what they did in order to control oil? They simply bought out all the competitors' oil refinery stations and frickin' shut them down. Oil price goes right up, surprisingly. Same thing is happening with energy. Do you think it's the exact same methodology? Do you think it's not? Call in 218-339-8525. The rematch was substantively different from the earlier debate because its town hall format allowed questioners from among 82 undecided voters to pose questions directly to the candidates via moderator Candy Crowley of CNN. CNN. Oh, you gotta love how unbiased that must be. The last question gave Obama and Romney the opportunity to correct, quote, the biggest misperception about themselves, which enabled the Republican nominee to counter the impression he only cared about the 1% of Americans and to address his Mormon faith. Obama, for his part, denied that his administration was only about big government. Yep, misperceptions. That's what's truth in politics. We'll see you in just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models, a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by the VinnyEastwoodShow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinny Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinny is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinny supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit the VinnyEastwoodShow.com and click donate.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of the fastest 2 hours in tech in talk radio. Hey, and speak of misperception. Yeah. Okay, so here's the misperception about Mitt Romney. He only cared about the 1%. Who are all his friends? Who are all his donators other than the 1%? Are there any? Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a whole bunch of frickin' idiots out there who just go, oh, this guy's great, he's going to restore America, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to donate some, the last $20, I may not be able to have the gas that I need this week, but I think he'll help the economy, so it'll be okay. No. Those people, even if there were millions of Americans who donated little bits like that, it would be an abysmal tiny fraction of a huge quantity of cash that this dude has raised. Okay, this is the first billion-dollar presidency in US history. Okay, and we're approaching $1 billion per candidate. Per candidate! Unbelievable. You have a look back in the 2008 election. God, it was a long time ago, eh? I'm getting old. Feels like. I'm getting old, but the game still stays exactly the same. So I feel youthful about that too. Now, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. 2008 election, you had to look at the campaign contributors. And they're like Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, and all these big banking cartels. And it's like, frack. Are they funding Obama as well as McCain? Well, yes. Yes, they are. Okay. The world suddenly makes a heck of a lot more sense than me. They're a bunch of corrupt scum. That's about right. Sorry. Because you have a look at how much they gave. And they gave money to both candidates. But they gave Obama twice as much. In this election, Obama and Romney, I don't know, I haven't seen the figures. I would like to see them. But I'm guessing it's actually closer to half and half. They don't like either of the horses, this tells me. They ain't got no favoritism. They think, hey, both of the guys that we've got here are pure puppets. You know, Obama has proved himself to be a #1 puppet master. Because he's done everything to expand the size of the government. This is, of course, one of the big misperceptions about Obama that he'd like to correct. I would think. Growth of government. Let's quantify this. What constitutes a growth of government? For me, it quantifies encroachment upon personal freedoms and things of that nature. It encompasses the taking over of things that are vital to the economy and other strategic resources and things like that, and putting them under direct government control and taking them out of the hands of private people. It also, as far as I'm concerned, expanding government also includes allowing private contractors and public-private partnerships, things like that. Where is the line? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Can you tell the difference between government and private corporations now? You go into a government building, all the people working in that government building are contractors. Is there a difference anymore at all? I don't think so. And that's the idea. So when Obama tries to cast aspersions to people who claim that he's expanding the government, you don't have to expand the government in order to expand the government. All you have to do is do heaps of public-private partnerships. And he's done tons of them. He's given more money to the bankers than anybody else. You know, Obama is a dream to the banking cartel because he just gives them anything they want. You know, do you want $40 billion a month worth of mortgage-backed securities to be created up out of thin air and then leveraged? Obama goes, yes, we can. Do you want to keep protracted wars going in various battle zones around the world that you really shouldn't be there anyway? Yes, we can. You want to shut down energy production in the United States and force everybody to pay much higher power bills? Yes, we can. Hope, change, false hope, and change for the worse. You know, look, people thought that he was going to solve every problem in the GD country, man. They thought they would all get gold Mercedes. They thought that there was going to be government money raining out of the sky, and that all of a sudden the food prices would stabilise, and that people would stop surveilling all these people along the United States with illegal wiretapping. They thought Guantanamo Bay was going to close. They thought that the troops were going to come home. Not a single thing that he said he was going to do has he done, with the exception of becoming president. That's the only thing he said that he would do that he actually did do. He became president. Everything else that he said before and after the election, and everything else that he did before and after the election, are a complete misnomer. Okay? Doesn't matter. Nobody even listens anymore. Nobody even knows what he was talking about 4 years ago. Nobody remembers. Okay, go back and have a look at the speeches and shockingly huge lies that he told all of us. You should be angry that you were lied to and totally misled. It was a cruel joke. A hoax upon all of us. Everybody in the world loved this Obama guy. Everybody in the world thought, oh my God, America's gonna stop being such a frickin' fascist police state, neo-feudalistic, frickin' 1% ruled communist dictatorship ruled by banking cartel francs. It's all gonna be okay. And it has only gotten worse. Now, during this 90-minute session, Obama landed punches where Romney is most vulnerable. He referred obliquely to the former governor's record policy of flip-flops, saying, "What I've tried to do is be consistent." Is that not the most infuriating thing that you've ever heard in your life, considering what I just said? Okay? These people... Right. You just laugh at them, okay? Obama says, I'm trying to remain consistent. Obama says, I'm trying to create jobs. Obama says, I'm going to try and tax the 1% a little bit more. Take it for the cruel joke that it is. Hey, look at it this way. Think positive. Think positive. Despite the fact that your country's being destroyed around you like there is no freaking tomorrow, and ensure that there will be no freaking tomorrow if you elect either of these characters. Okay? Despite that fact, you can at least have a few cackles at their expense, and I wonder why that these... well, I don't wonder why, I know why, because, look... The amount of us that know what the real truth is, or even an inkling, I don't know what the real truth is, whatever the frack that means. But I do know that whatever we're being fed right now is patently, obviously, undeniably, and unequivocally a pack of lies from a bunch of lying wolves in sheep clothing, Fabian socialist, Freemason, satanic cult mofos. I know, and it's not funny. But for goodness sake, if you keep taking it all really, really, really seriously, your head will explode. Okay? It'll be similar to the guy in the Monty Python movie who just eats the last wafer of thin mint and then explodes with the guts and stuff all over the restaurant. But the president has also criticised Romney's outsourcing of jobs when CEO of Bain Capital. The Bain Capital. Yeah. Like the bane of your capital existence, and noted his low personal income tax rate. His parting shot was to vow to fight for the 47% of the population, famously described as a lost cause by Romney on the ground that they are on government handouts and consider themselves victims. As it was in his final statement, Romney could not respond. Well, look at it this way. Obama comes out and he says, I'm going to try and save the poor by manipulating them. All right? Poor people, what do you define poor as? Okay, because I know plenty of people who are intelligent as, who ain't got a cent to their name, got nothing but debt, and they're living on the breadline, you know? Poor people who are stupid, on the other hand, oh my God, so easily led around. They're practically lambs to the slaughter. And it's not like I'm saying poor people are stupid or anything like that. The people of this world are stupid. Okay? It's not opinion. It is absolute fact. If you don't believe me, go and ask political questions to any American that you see in the street, any New Zealander, any Canadian, any Brit, any Indian, anybody who's in a low socioeconomic area, and you ask them, who's your current president? Who is the president of your closest neighbouring country? What are their policies? What are their parties? You know, these are real basic, simple questions, and you'll be absolutely astounded by the fact that virtually nobody knows. Nobody has any idea who Obama is. Nobody knows who Romney is. Nobody knows what they stand for. Nobody knows what they've done. Nobody knows who's backing them. Nobody knows what they're gonna do. And it's exactly the way they like it. Because that way, you'll still vote for them out of sheer ignorance and blind hope that maybe this person will be telling the truth and it won't be like the other past 100 frickin' presidents that we've elected or whatever that have screwed us all over. We'll be right back after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.